Hi, I'm Ron Mann with Dignitary Protection and Security Group. I'm here today with Mark Blackwell at Point Blank Range in Matthews, North Carolina. I'm here to discuss what our company does with runaway recovery and investigations into kidnapping. Mark Blackwell is the head of Justice Ministries here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm here to discuss with him the effects and the dangers of runaways with our teen youth and how that can feed into human trafficking and kidnapping.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ron. For those that may not know, I'm with Justice Ministries. We're a counter-human trafficking agency. We've been based here in the Carolinas for about 10 years. We basically do outreach to at-risk populations. We do emergency services and transitional care.
Mark, could you talk about the dangers of teen runaways and human trafficking, how they're related, and the associated dangers that are accompanied?
Sure, yeah, that's a great question. We've been in this for about 10 years now, so a lot of the early research and training I was doing may be a little dated, but I even remember from years back, they were saying that within the first 72 hours of a teen going missing or running away, there was a high risk for them being approached by a trafficker. Traffickers are hanging out in places where teens and vulnerable populations may congregate, the mall, bus stations, just places where teens would get together, and they're going to try to target individuals that they could possibly, prey on some vulnerabilities and take advantage of them. And a runaway teen is in a very high vulnerable situation. Also noteworthy, it's also been said that the average age of entry into forced prostitution for a female in the U.S. is between 12 and 14 years old. And so it's very young. It's an age that would surprise, I'm sure, many of our viewers. So for a 13-year-old on the street, that is just an extremely dangerous situation. And there are predators out there looking to take advantage of that vulnerability.
Mark, what can parents do if their teen runs away? And what can they do if they suspect foul play?
Yeah, I'm sure that's the big ticket item. What can a parent do? I would interject that the best thing to do is preventative. We're at a time where the cell phone and access to internet is one of the big causalities of why so many kids can be at risk because they're meeting someone online or things like that. But that same cell phone device can have tracking software and things that you can actually see your teen's movement to have a better grasp on where they're at, which is a good tool to take advantage of. But what can you do when it happens? It's a terrible situation that it's a nightmare for anybody. It's something that no one thinks will happen to them. Obviously, update the police as quickly as possible. Any law enforcement officer will tell you time is of the essence in that situation. But as you know, many departments are overrun and spread thin, and it can kind of be in a needle in a haystack situation for them as well. So if they have the means to reach out to a reputable investigative agency like you guys, and it really does need to be reputable, because some they'll just take your money and keep you on the line. But someone that can really specialize the attention to put all their energy into that case, because it needs to be acted on very quickly. Because in our modern society, with highways crossing the country and air travel and buses, trains, and everything else, a kid that's on the street can be gone and 1,000 miles away in short order. So quick response is critically important. If you have concern, mothers have good intuition, and it's important they act on it, especially in these situations.
Mark, what can parents do resource-wise when they recover their child from a runaway or kidnapping situation? Are there people to talk to, or groups, or what do you recommend?
With that, I think the big question is what prompted the run? Why did they leave? What triggered it? That could be a myriad of issues. It could have been someone they met online, which you're going to find that in your investigation as you go through their tech devices and things like that. So was it that they were lured out? Were they running from a bad home life? Were they just bored? What was the thing that prompted them to run? And I think once you have a grasp on that, that's really where you can decide, okay, what is best for our teen. In many of the cases we see where it is sexual exploitation, obviously counseling is critical, and that's something we don't provide it directly, but we contract out those services for many of our clients because counseling is something that you're going to need ongoing and for long term. With teens, sometimes you do see it can be a lack of understanding of the seriousness of the situation, and we have to work with other partner agencies that can help on an education standpoint, help that young lady or young man even see the risks and the dangers of their behavior. And we work with groups. One of our favorite groups we work with locally is called Present Age Ministries, and they do a lot on the prevention education side and a bunch of wraparound services, but they specialize in working with teenagers that are at risk. And that's another big piece of the puzzle, is if they are at risk, to not ignore that or just say, oh good, they're back home, let's move on, because it may happen again. And we need to get to the bottom of what's causing this behavior and what's prompting it and what can we do to address that. Well, thanks, Ron. Yeah, no, it was a pleasure to be here. I enjoyed talking with you guys today and sharing with the audience. But again, I did hear y'all had a successful recovery recently, so kudos to you. In my line of work, it's always an encouragement to see success where someone is caught up in a highly dangerous situation and it's a happy ending. So keep up the good work, and thanks for having me on today.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. We just were able to assist another company in recovering a teen runaway in Franklin, North Carolina, and we really had to hit the ground hard. Took a lot of time, a lot of 14, 15, 16-hour days, and we were successfully able to bring her back home to her mother. So thank you, Mark Blackwell from Justice Ministries. If you have more questions for Mark, or if you'd like to see what he's got available, his site is justiceministries.org, and he can answer any questions you might have.